This podcast is for you if you want to learn about the wonderful and wacky world of the English language and the people who speak it. If you want to learn English, speak English, and understand different speakers of English, then you're in the right place and you're going to love our podcast episode today. Welcome to English World with Chris Americos. We are a team of language lovers, expert teachers, and native speakers who are on a mission to help people around the world speak English and show the world their true value. We correct mistakes, practice pronunciation, and explore grammar rules while drinking coffee and having fun. So get comfortable, relax, grab a pen and paper, and welcome to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by English Every Day, an unlimited speaking practice program where you can join live speaking practice lessons with professional native teachers 5 times every day. There are a lot of courses on the internet and a lot of useful videos too, but the one thing that is missing for most English learners is practice. And if you need speaking practice, then English Every Day is for you. So click the link in the description or go to chrisamericos.com to learn more today. Today we have Richard from Genki English with us. Richard, thank you so much for being here.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for everyone for listening and maybe watching too.
Yeah. So Richard has a really interesting story, and I mean, for everyone who hasn't heard of him before, I don't know how that would be possible, but if they haven't, then I think they're really in for a treat today. So, look, I mean, let's just start from like the basics, like with everyone, you know, where are you from originally, and how did you get into teaching English and everything like that?
Cool. Okay, that's quite a lot. Just a short little thing you want there. So I'm originally from the UK, although I don't sort of think of myself as being British or anything, but we might come on to that later on. But I started teaching when I was 16 because at my school, there's some good teachers, but most of them were really just boring, and it just put me to sleep. And I was like, man, if I'm having, I got good grades and things, but I'm like, these lessons are so boring. I'm sure I can do a better job myself. So I did. I put a little cards in the supermarket and saying I was, teaching lessons, and I started teaching them when I was 16. So that was pretty cool. And then I went to uni, and at uni I was doing physics, but I had lucky enough to go for a year in France. So I was studying physics in French. So that's where all the languages things started. And I definitely recommend that to anyone. Rather than studying English, I presume everyone watching here is into English, yeah? Or French in my case. Rather than doing a degree in that or studying that, way better, I think, to do something else, but do it in that language. And you sort of almost get the language for free. So I did that. That was really cool. And then afterwards I went to Japan, and then I was teaching full time, and things just sort of went on from there.
So why Japan? How did the jump from France to Japan? It's kind of a long distance.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like once you study overseas, you're like, okay, why would I ever go back to one country? It's just crazy. So I had a choice of two. There was Sierra Leone or Japan. And the week I had to decide, Sierra Leone went into a civil war. So I'm like, okay, Japan it is. So, yeah. But for the past 20 years, I've actually been traveling, full-on digital nomad, traveling around the world, like a different city almost every month until COVID. So
how is that, though? Like, because I've considered that my wife and I like traveling, but also, like, we have 2 young ones. So that adds another challenge in the whole thing. But like like sometimes I get tied down to the place, and I want to escape, and I want to just change things up. And so how long were you able to sustain that, go like every month another city?
So I was teaching full-time 3 years, and then I started Genki English up whilst I was teaching. So then as soon as my teaching contract finished, I could go full-time with Genki English. So then I was full-time traveling around the world from then for 20 years until COVID hit. It was
20 years.
full-on traveler. Yeah. So, it's quite a while.
There's a lot of people out there right now who are listening or watching who probably, maybe they go on holiday once a year somewhere, maybe not even out of their country, and maybe they can't even imagine, Richard, maybe they can't even imagine doing the things that you're talking about right now, how is it possible, right? How was it possible to because like you studied like everyone else. You did that, like that's kind of a standard thing everyone does. Then you got a job teaching like a lot of people do. And then but somehow you made this leap. So like what happened there? You know, so I guess it was with the inception of Genki English, right?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, I'm really privileged because at that time, and we've gone through the last few years have been really bruising for us because of lots of different things. But at that time, I was really fortunate that my passport allowed me to travel, and because I know a lot of people, their passports don't. And there are ways around that if you look. There are ways where you can travel, even if you do have not so good a passport, you can get different passports. So I was really fortunate to do it. But it was mainly through just from teaching because when I went to Japan, I was teaching like sciences and I was teaching English and we're teaching other subjects as well. Like we're doing things with NASA and all these really cool internet-based stuff and things. So for me, the internet at that time was just a normal thing. And when I was teaching English as well, it was like back when I was 16, it was like just really boring and horrible. And I was like, come on, we can get better results than this. We can do more than this. So I started doing teacher training. And then I put all my materials online on the internet then, because it's 1999, and just starting. And then some people would invite me to go and do presentations in other prefectures in Japan. So, so when my teaching contract finished, I was like, okay, people are inviting me all around the country. How can I do this? So I got on a bicycle and I went around all these different schools. And then a typhoon hit, and I figured bicycle's not the way to do this. So I had a mate of mine who had a 1975 Volkswagen camper van. So we got in there and we toured the whole breadth of the country. And every school we passed, we went in and said, can we come back? We're going up the country. And then when we come back down, can we come in and do training for your teachers? And we'll also do a big show for your kids. We'll teach 1,000 kids at once. And it's great stuff. And so that's what we did. We invited the newspapers and all that sort of stuff. So then that got me national. And at that time, there was no Wi-Fi or anything. I just had my laptop and we were surviving by selling the CDs. And I had my laptop. I had to jump out of the van. I had to plug it into a phone box, download my emails, jump in the van before the battery died. We couldn't use the computer without the van engine being on because that battery died. And we just run it through email and selling CDs, updating the website. And then once that happened, we got in the papers and things. Then people started inviting me. I got invited to do workshops in Thailand. Got invited to have lunch with the Prime Minister. And then lots of others like India, Tanzania, and lots of other different places, amazing places.
So as soon as your teaching contract was up, then you were free to roam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you really took advantage of that because a lot of other people find themselves in a similar situation, but they don't do what you did.
Yeah, well, I think at that time it was just starting. So being digital nomad since like the year 2000 is pretty rare. Yeah. And you couldn't have done it in 1997 because the public internet wasn't there. Email wasn't really there. You certainly couldn't record your own CDs and have them pressed and sell to fund everything. So it was the right time. I was like, why not? It's just crazy not to. And right now, so at the moment, since COVID, we actually, because we couldn't be locked down because of visas and everything's crazy, we had to live in one place. And it's way cheaper to travel than it is to live in one place. If you're living definitely. If you're living in the West or America or like Japan, places like that, traveling is way, way cheaper. Partly because everything becomes a business expense because you're always traveling. Yeah. You go from one work thing to another, and then the hotels, and then everything. You don't shop. You have one suitcase. If you want to buy something, you have to get rid of something. For your weight. So you don't spend money, and you're just meeting people all the time. You don't, and just traveling gives you the enjoyment of, having a meal is like a huge thing. Just looking and seeing things is entertainment. You don't need Netflix or anything like that because you're living that life of new things all the time. And it gets very addictive, but it's a much better way of doing it. And for the environment as well, you don't have a car, you don't have, maintain a house or anything like that. So it's a lot more difficult these days because like with geographical restrictions on the internet and banking and stuff like that, but it's still possible if I think if people have if any of you watching have the opportunity, then do it. Because a lot of people don't. A lot of people just can't do it because of their visas and passports. But if you do, then definitely do it. Yeah.
Let's go back to this Genki English thing, because this is how I know you. Like, to kind of put my 2 cents in here, right? So like, you had this experience of like blowing up as an English teacher in Japan, and I had that experience in Russia. And so, I had schools in different cities being like, okay, come over here and do this thing. And then we had our own local physical school and then we would bring native teachers in from other countries and doing that visa thing. And so it was
Cool.
it was hard. Like, looking back, I why did I do that? At that time, I came across a lot of different entrepreneurial type Russians in this sphere. And so that's where I heard about your stuff, because some of them had heard about your stuff too. And it was kind of like, all right, who's already in the market, right? Who's already out there? What do you look at what exists? And you had already made your mark. And so that was really cool. And so for everyone who's listening now who doesn't have that experience that I have of finding out already about what Genki English is, then maybe you can tell everybody that.
Yeah. So, so basically, it's just like I was saying before. It's like most school. So we deal mainly with. We have a lot of teachers using our materials for adults and beginners and things, but it's mostly I want to focus on primary schools because most kids in primary school hate it. Around the world, invariably, wherever you go, 5% love it. Awesome, brilliant. Majority of kids hate it. And when you're talking about most subjects, most schools fail most kids. So most of the kids in the world who learn English at school cannot speak any of it, even after they've learned it for 6 years. Yeah. And it's just, there's reasons for it. It's all because, that basically nearly all countries just copied the British model of state education, which was based on teaching Latin, which of course is the dead language which nobody speaks anyway. So how can you teach speaking with Latin? And it hasn't evolved very much. And of course, you got government controls and things. But what I was doing when I first started teaching was I was like, okay, this is what I have to learn for the exams, and I want to do it in a fun way, in a cool way. And you can get rid of Pareto. You can get rid of 80% of the stuff and still get just with 20% of the stuff, you can get 80% of the results. And then when I was teaching in Japan, I was really fortunate. What you'll find is everything with entrepreneurship is luck. Yeah. I was really fortunate the government had changed their curriculum and they said, okay, we know that the kids hate English in junior high school because it's all grammar and writing. So in primary school, we only want speaking. So for someone like me, I'm like, awesome. That's like the best thing ever. So we just, so with Genki English, it's Genki is Japanese word. It's the ki is chi. It's the force from Star Wars. It's your internal energy. So Genki means for adults, I would say if you have 2 beers, you're Genki. If you have 10 beers, not so Genki. So kids are always Genki. So we wanted to bring that Genkiness into the classroom. So we would look at how kids communicate outside the class, and it was always with games. So we would bring those games into class and tweak the rules so they could only win the game if they spoke the English. And then the teacher doesn't become the linchpin. The teacher just standing back listening, and the kids are all talking amongst each other, even if you have 30, 40, 100, 1,000 kids in class. And then, so that speaking part was the main part of doing Genki English. And I wanted to spread that out. A lot of teachers were into it and wanting to learn how to do it. And then it's grown a little bit since then. It's like the music we brought in because if kids or adults are learning before they've learned to read and write, which is how we should do it. Humans were speaking for millennia before we learned to read and write. But you need some way of memorization. And the traditional way that humans have learned things like stories being passed down through generations is through music. So that's why we wrote the music. So I wrote a song for each lesson. We had the target language. I wrote a song for that with as cool a funky production as I could do, getting all the social benefits of music. If you're singing together as a group, it brings group cohesion. If you're singing in a louder voice, it gives you instant confidence because your body posture changes. So we had the music, and then that allowed them to remember it for the next lesson, and then you could play the games and they all talk, and we got really great results. So that's what Genki English was, and that's what my passion now is, that there's still too many kids who hate school. Still too many boring lessons, and I want to change that. Ideally, we want every subject in every country taught in a Genki way. But we're slowly, especially in the English side of it, it's really easy to do. But so we're just trying to. That's what we're trying to aim for. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. That's really cool. And I noticed that a lot of it is animated, and like we have some of the stuff behind you showing this too. So like who does the animations and who does this artwork and drawing? Do you do absolutely everything in this, or do you have teammates?
Yes. Is there a particular reason why you're asking that, or is it just out of interest, though?
Just out of interest, yeah. Just
Because the artwork.
because I can't like most of the time someone who like it's hard to find a person who's really good at both drawing and
Okay.
writing, So like if you're a wordsmith, then you typically like you might visualize the words, but like it might be difficult to put them into an image.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
me.
Well, for the record, let me say I'm bad at both of those. So. Yeah. So what? Well, the interest. I mean, the graphics look a bit strange. I mean, this is like some of the. I think you can see that they're quite small, but
It's for
um,
kids.
yeah. So what we use, when I first started teaching, I used to use like I think it's Microsoft Clip Art or something, just for flashcards and things.
Yeah.
And the kids would look at it and they go, oh, yeah, okay, that's that word, that's that word. But what I found is when I didn't have a card and I had to draw something on the board in my terrible drawing skills, that's when you got the kids going, whoa, what is that? Come on. But then they'd remember it because it was memorable.
Yeah.
And you'd find that when you're doing tests and you're testing on the vocab and things, they'd forget all the clip art style things and they'd remember all the weird ones. So when we started doing Genki English, I wanted computers from the beginning. So you have to have visual flashcards. You want the computers, the music. The flashcards touch on the computer screen. So teach for non-native speaker teachers, if they do want help with the pronunciation, they just press it and it comes out in American and British and all these different ones. So I wanted the graphics on there and we tested it with the kids. And we had like sort of clip-arty professional ones. And then we had my weird ones. And we play the games where the kids have to run and pick flashcards. They always pick the weird ones. So that's how the Genki English graphics got the sort of strange style that they have. Now, over the years, because a lot of teachers have I have this strange thing that we're making things for kids. So we tested on kids, not tested on animals, tested on kids. But we have to sell it to the teachers first. And sometimes the teachers can be a bit gatekeepery and they're like, yeah, I don't like that. It's like, try it. No, I don't like it. So we've actually sort of improve some of the graphics over the years. So we've got artists on to help out with some of the graphics, make them a bit more teacher friendly as well. And then, of course, now with some of the other projects, like Genki English now is pretty much, so we got the Harvard research in and the EU certification of A1, A2 level. So that course is pretty much complete. For the other things that we're doing, like last month, we were doing some like grammar songs and things like that. We're using a lot of AI graphics as well for that, which again, only works when it's weird. When it's boring, people don't memorize. When there's something memorable in it, they memorize it, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're like this product is delivered to children through other teachers and other educational organizations, and so you're basically licensing this material to them, right?
Sort of, yeah. Usually they just buy. Well, I mean, we still have the sort of the framing of like physical packs. We used to sell physical packs of CDs. We don't now. It's all downloads. But it's basically a school buys it, and it's just a few $100s, and then they can use it. If they want the students to use it, then we have student packs they can buy separately as well. But usually, yeah, they just buy it straight from us. We have done some licensing, like the Thai government. They wanted to give like a laptop, a tablet computer to every kid in first grade in the whole country. 800,000 kids.
Wow.
Bit of an election bribe, but it was great for us because we were like, we want to find out what happens when you give 800,000 kids tablets. And we learned a heck of a lot. But the software on that, they put Genki English on there. So they licensed that to put on there, which was really cool.
Yeah. So how do you get into those kinds of deals? Like for people out there who are teachers, Like that's what their idea is. Because like a lot of teachers out there, they're stuck in their job.
Okay.
Maybe they live in another country and they're an English teacher in another country and they're watching this because they're simultaneously teaching and learning higher levels of English. And
Yep.
so like they see two people like us who have started businesses, like not only just a business as a teacher, but then basically business coaching other teachers at the same time. And so like multiple levels of an enterprise within one. And, so a lot of people wonder how you do that and how you connect with big players and things like that. I can share on my side. I'll give a little story first. So like, you know, um, following the organic route, you can just get someone's attention. And if you're open to those kinds of deals, you get their attention just by essence of doing what you love and what you're already passionate about and just putting it out there enough. And so that's really what happened to me. And like Richard said, luck. That's called luck. And so like I was just putting out YouTube videos, nobody's watching them, but it was that same passion that Richard described where I thought I could do better. I saw what was there. I thought I could do better, and really pushed me to like put that out there. Um, that competition in me, everyone who's watching, who's in psychology, might analyze it deeper. Like, oh, his self-worth. He doesn't have enough self-worth. He's trying to, and be that the case. Like a lot of people find themselves in that situation. So you just put it out there. And in my case, it was a guy who had a group of like 4 million with a 4 million person audience and was just like, hey, do you want to come go live on this page in front of 4 million people? And, at that time I wasn't so open to those ideas. And I was like, oh, he's not paying me like my time. I was thinking, like $5 or $10 at least. Come on, man. And like looking back, it's so stupid, right? Because like that one move of just doing those free live calls with him actually put me on the map and actually snowballed into everything else. Maybe something similar happened with you.
Yeah, and I think that is the root of all businesses, I think. So I mean, two things is number one, if you're seeing all these things on your get rich quick schemes and hey, sell all this stuff online, if somebody's selling you a course on that, usually it's because they haven't done it themselves. So make sure you learn from somebody who's done it. But a lot of, and then don't do. I would say to people, don't, if you see someone else doing it well, you don't need to do it, because the world doesn't need a worse or a similar version to what's already out there. What they do need is something better, or even better, they need something as a replacement for something that's been done badly. And the luck thing comes in with technology, because if you can see something not being done very well, and you say, I can do better myself, and there's a new technology that the existing players are not using, that's when you can hit. So for me, when I started, the internet had just started. So instead of doing my teacher training things in a big book of lesson plans and games and things, I tried doing that, and everyone got drunk afterwards and left them on the bus. So it was like a waste of time. So I put them online because we had a website and it was free. I could put it on the website. So that thing of the website and then wanting to teach better than what was out there was what helped. And then that is what lets you blow up, by taking advantage of that. So I would imagine now, if people are wanting to do something, AI has got to be the ticket for that. What are the existing people not doing with AI, and what are existing people not doing well, and where can you get that intersection? And if you can do that, now is a prime opportunity to do that. And then, as you say, it's organic from then. It's luck and organic. So for me, I went around, I just put an Instagram post about it today. I went around all the local newspapers and said, hey, I've made these CDs and these songs, I'm going on this tour. So they started writing about me. And then as I went further and further, like we would teach 1,000 kids at once, because I was thinking, what's, what, like when you go to the, traditional press is a really good way of doing it, because you get the borrowed authority. You can say you were in this newspaper or whatever. I had a mate of mine, he got 1 30-second spot on CNN once. But from then on, he was like, as seen on CNN. Like, you get that authority. So if you can get in the papers, and I was thinking, what can I do that's visually attractive for TV crews as well? So that's when we started teaching 1,000 kids at once. And then Because of that, I got invited. Then Oxford University Press, so I was in the national newspaper. They invited me to go on tour with them. We outsold them at events with the stuff we were doing. And then actually they offered at one point for me to stop working so that we weren't in competition with them. Rather than offering me a deal to do publishing with them, they said, that's going to take a year. Can we just pay you just like to not work? Would that be an option? I was like, the fact they're asking means it's not an option, no. So and that's how you do. And everything like the Thailand gig was just because someone had taught using Genki English. Last year, I was at TEFL in England, and there was a lady there who'd used Genki English ages ago, and she was like, "Oh, can you come on and do a presentation for us?" So it's putting yourself out there, and everybody now, you've all got social media. So even if you are in a place where you can't travel, where you can't buy computers and music gear, you've got a phone, you've got the opportunity there with social media to reach out and just keep going, and then hopefully you'll get this luck and someone will come and pick you up. But also be prepared for nothing happening as well.
Yeah,
always
for a long time.
Back at that.
But like you said, like the new technology, riding that wave of the new technology, this is really big, and a lot of people miss that. Because a lot of people get stuck, especially teachers, they get stuck doing it the same way and thinking like, okay, I've mastered that now, I know that now, and not thinking that there's any extra knowledge and new stuff that has to be added to teaching. And so, yeah, you can ride that technology wave. For me, it was the same thing. Like we moved online from the offline business, and then it was kind of like, we're just the same as everyone else, like link under my YouTube video, book a trial lesson. You know what I mean? It just looked like everybody else. And so at one point then, like I found Zoom, and I saw that nobody was using Zoom yet because this was before COVID. And so like we would get students in, and I would have to educate the students on how to use Zoom before we could do the lessons. Like now I don't have to do that anymore. Everyone knows what Zoom is, but then, so like, that was really the only difference, was that I could say there's going to be a private video platform where we can talk face to face. And people were like, oh, that's really, I didn't have to invent it. I didn't have to, just leveraging that technology. And, then when COVID happened, it just made everything explode. So that was amazing, but, unrealistic to repeat that. But yeah,
it's not. It will repeat. It'll be happening all the time, because the whole thing is going through. Everything is always being revolutionized all the time. So, for example, with YouTube, it's like I like when I've got a lot of a big group of us teachers in Japan who were on YouTube right at the beginning. Like if you look at my YouTube videos, like now I upload something and it gets. Well, it's completely random. It's luck again. One video gets 83 views, and the same video on another channel gets 4,000 views. It's like, but a lot of my older videos got like millions and millions of views just because I happened to get on YouTube at the right time. And the friends of mine who got it on 6 months before me, those are the ones who got the billions of views. So there's a lot of English teachers in that sort of level as well. And I was 6 months too late to the party, because I was like, YouTube, why would I want to give my videos away free? I want to sell them on DVDs. It's like,
yeah. I was about 6 years late to the party, so.
Yeah, but if you keep up with technology, or even if you just find out, the essence of creativity is taking something from over here and mixing it with something over here. That's all creativity is. And if you're using a technology, or you see someone. You look at all the successful people around you in your life, your village, your town, wherever, and what are they doing? And is there anything you could use there that would help you? And the reason we say technology is that technology is a multiplier, and it's really cheap, because if you've got a phone, obviously you had to buy the phone, but you can do things like with the music stuff. This keyboard here is like £3,000. I've got like dozens of them just to make like 15 albums. But now you can make music just using your phone and just using your laptop. You don't need to spend all that money on it. So if you can do that and get this first mover advantage, but of course the key is having the psychic ability to predict the future. It's luck again, because like things like crypto and stuff like that, you're like, no, that would never take off. It's like
Yeah.
blockchain, yes, crypto, no. But now you look at AI and like, yeah, definitely AI is something. So how can you use AI? And AI is going to be the huge changer over the next few months.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, what do you think the future of teaching and learning English as a foreign language might look like? We kind of went in that direction with AI already, and a lot of people are worried, right? So, like, I've heard that phrase out there, like, and I tell people that too, like, AI is not going to take your job. A human using AI will take your job. Um, and like that's kind of my position too. It's just like yeah, AI is great, but it's gonna change a lot of things, but I don't think it's gonna completely remove the need for human connection. And so the English language being right now the universal like spoken language, this is important. I think that it will still be important, even if you can use your AI to not really learn it and still survive. It's going to end up being this this code, this secret of the group to show that you are one of us. Like at some level, that has to happen when we think that everything around us is not real. There has to be some code that allows us to say you are a special part of this group. And so that to me, AI is amazing because if I'm building communities with people, that just becomes even more valuable, the human connection. So, but what do you think what do you think the future of this looks like, you know?
I work with like the best teachers in the world. The teachers who use Genki English are super amazing. They're super fantastic, super Genki. They're brilliant. The majority of English teachers in the world, number one, don't speak English. And number two, their students never learn anything. That's just a fact because the majority of teachers in the world are in government schools and they've never been supported. They're not paid to do that. If they could speak English, they'd be out getting a much higher paid job, blah, blah, blah. So I never think in terms of teachers because something you were saying before is like the difference between sort of business people and scientists and teachers is business people and scientists, I'm physicist, is that we're lazy. We don't want to write down, the distance between these 3 points could be, like, we just write X. Like, what's X? Find X. That's it. Whereas English teachers tend to be, oh, no, that shortcuts are cheating. No, you have to memorize all of Swan and you have to learn all these rules. And they tend to make life a little bit difficult for themselves. So I never focus on teachers. For me, as far as I'm concerned, there are nowhere near enough great teachers in the world for all the learners. There are way more learners than there are great teachers. And so I'll always look at it from a learner's point of view. And from a learner's point of view, teachers will disappear. They will not need teachers in 99.999 whatever percent of cases. And I'll give you an example. So today in England is the GCSE, the 16-year-old national chemistry exam. And last night, my daughter was doing her revision, and we was doing our stuff. And yes, we got the update of OpenAI. So we just left the phone on the table talking, and said, "Hey, I hope it doesn't respond now when I'm talking, but hey, ChatGPT, we've got a chemistry GCSE paper 1 tomorrow. Can you give us some quick tests, just test us on it to make sure we've learned it and stuff like that?" And first of all, she started teaching us. And no, don't teach it. Ask us questions. Don't tell us the answers. Guide us through it. Coach us through it, how to do it. Just like they did with the Khan Academy video on the demo the other day. And it is amazing because the ChatGPT knows the subject off by heart. She knows the human psychology and emotion of how to react to students of different ages. And she knows exactly what you need to learn for that particular test. So I think from learners' point of view, they will be using the AI to learn the language is going to be infinitely faster than going and learning with the teacher. Now, does that mean that all teachers are going to disappear? No, because in governments will still want government schools.
Yeah.
Because government schools are not really for education, they're for other reasons. And great teachers will still survive, but they will be like portrait painters. So 100 years ago, if you wanted a family picture, you would have to get a portrait painted, and there were portrait painters everywhere. Blockbuster video stores everywhere. But now that's been replaced. Now people take photographs and they watch Netflix. So, but there are still some portrait painters around, and there
It's
is still
top
one.
of mind because the king recently, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. And there's one Blockbuster video store around as well. So, but yeah. So yeah. So I think for teachers' point of view, unless you keep ahead of it, but don't worry about it. 100 years ago we were all farmers, and like I've forgotten the exact number, but when I was at school, more than 50% of the jobs that people I went to school with, jobs they're doing now, didn't exist when I was at school. So things evolve, and you build up your skill sets, you work on your self-development, and you learn new skills, and you adapt, and you learn financial skills so you can get over these transition periods. That's really important. And then you'll survive and you'll do something else. If you really love teaching, you'll find a way to love doing it. If you hate teaching, you might find something better that you do actually love to do. And then for students, the AI is going to be a total game changer.
But yeah, it's interesting that approaching from the student point of view, I guess, then they have to trust. It becomes part of trusting the system. So are we really outsourcing a lot of our knowledge? Like I'm assuming that the general information about the world is correct when I receive it through, like a lot of people already outsource that part of their thinking to Google, and now we have AI. And so it's like, well, if it's on Google, it's true. AI said it, it's true. And so, right. Well, I think we'll always have that battle where there will be humans arguing like, you don't want to sound like a robot, so don't learn a language from a robot. And then there will be other people who will be like, I learned a language from a robot in one day. You took a year to learn from a person.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously that's the whole trust thing. That's luckily in English, we don't really have to worry about that so much. Geography and history, you do, because like today is also the geography exam in the UK. And the English teachers in England think that geography is universal. They say it's the same rivers, it's the same countries. But I'm like, no. What you teach in geography in England is nothing like any other country in the world, because every country, the government controls the curriculum and they control what you want to say with it. And obviously we've seen recently certain countries taking that to extremes. Yeah. Luckily with English, it's a skill. It's easy. But the thing with AI is, the reason that AI is better is that the AI can read emotion better. It's one-on-one, so it's personalized, and the AI has infinite patience. Because one of the things we've seen with the flipped classroom, like if the kids are doing Genki English at home or whatever, or YouTube videos at home, they do way better, because if they don't understand it, they just keep repeating it until they do understand it. Whereas in a classroom, if they ask the teacher 4 times to repeat something, you have to be a really strong teacher to not get frustrated by kids saying, "Don't get it, tell me again. Don't get it, tell me again." It's and also with AI as well, you get different teachers, you get different personalities and things like that. So that really helps. Yeah, and in schools you're still going to need school and other subjects, but I think the language teachers, the AI is always going to be better than humans. It's like with self-driving. It's like the driving cars are way safer than humans. They're by a factor of 10. So if you've if you're going to save thousands of lives, you might as well do that. And then the political decisions are then how much do you trust it? Who controls the AI? Is it okay for private enterprise to do it? Here in the UK, we've got no tech scene at all. We've got Raspberry Pi. That's about it. There's, is it okay that America controls the British? Anyhow, but that's all for the top pay grade people to think about.
Yeah, but it was interesting you brought up how we were farmers before, right? And so a lot of the farmers at some point in technological advances had to transition to factory work or something else. And so what will they transition into now? That's a lot of teachers already, the teachers who I coach with their teaching business online, they already have this question, because it's like, I kind of maxed out what I can sell direct to consumer in my niche. And so I either have to coach them in something or become something that's not a teacher. And that's a struggle sometimes, because the language skills that you develop as an English teacher, they can carry over to a lot of other places. For me, it's been marketing, but it's like sometimes people don't want to kind of let go of that title of teacher and what they think that means to them. And so like, what will teachers become? What do you think?
Well, let's go back and look at the people who may be watching this, or the people you work with, and the people I work with, and things. So number one, for teachers right now is most people don't know about AI. Most people don't use it. I did a presentation on AI in January, and I was like, who's scared of this and terrified? And a few people put their hand up, and I said, who's really excited about it? 2 or 3 people. Who's heard about it and doesn't care? 90% of the room. So most people don't care about it. So it's not here yet. You've got a couple of years. So for teachers now, you still can earn a lot of money. English teaching is very, very, you've seen all the millionaire English teachers that have come through Instagram and stuff. If you're teaching offline, it's very easy to get a 6-figure teaching income if you're a teacher now, with very low expenses. English teachers, you don't need much. You might need a computer or maybe a book if you're even, it's not like a butcher's shop where you have to buy knives and equipment, or a coffee shop where you have to buy chairs and staff bills and things. You don't have all. You can earn. So learn financial skills now and get your learn how to invest, learn how to get passive income, true passive income, not from selling things, but from investments and things like that. If you're in a first world country, you need 3 million. I think it's 4 million now in America to be able to retire. So make sure you're on track for that. Don't spend all your money. Save it. Boom. So that gives you a buffer to then think about what you really want to do in life and retrain. And it's hard. Like here, I'm actually in Yorkshire now, and here is very much in the Luddite tradition. Luddites, when everyone was doing handcrafting of cloth and things, they brought in these machines, and suddenly one person could do the job of 1,000. So 999 people were out of jobs. So they went around, they smashed all the machines up, and that bought them 6 months. And then they were completely replaced. And now here you have huge, beautiful buildings that are completely derelict. You have huge areas that are that people haven't had jobs in generations. So you definitely don't want to go down that route. So learn your financial skills, build it financial now, so that makes you bulletproof, and then you can retrain for new skills. What you have to retrain in, we don't know, because 5 years ago, if you'd have asked anybody, they would have said learn coding. But right now, the thing that the AI is the strongest at is coding.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I write code. Like I had studied code and I always struggled with it, and then AI came along and I was like, I only need to know the concepts. I don't actually need to do the steps. And so if I can describe the concept clearly enough to AI, then it can give me what I want. And yeah, it's amazing.
But that's cool. So but that's the key, because you don't learn coding to learn how to code. You learn coding to get the mindset of a coder. So you learn how to solve real world problems in a coding way, which is amazing to do. It's like with music, yeah. It's like now, like I wanted to buy a new $800 keyboard like a couple of months ago. Now there's an AI app that does everything on it for free. And I don't need any of this gear even now. I can just do it all on my laptop. But now this is just for playing when I'm sick of looking at the screen. I can just come and play keyboards or whatever. So,
but don't you think then that, like, my argument here is the supply and demand. That like we're going to have this huge supply of content. We're going to have this huge supply of stuff that nobody can use, and the attention is growing much slower than content is growing, and so the supply will be oversupplied. It will become less and less valuable to the content itself. And so I think like a skill, like imagine you're at a house party, you're out somewhere, and a person is playing a piano. The fact that AI can do it so quickly and that so many people choose to do it through AI, the fact that somebody's not, I think that like you said before, the portrait painter, that they still exist today, even though it's so old school, but they still exist today, and that's a special thing. That's kind of where I'm landing on this, is that those human skills will become very valuable if you differentiate yourself enough, kind of like
Yeah.
this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I used to walk to work every day, like, and past a Japanese swordsmith's shop, and they were on the ground in the Japanese outfits making katana in the same way they've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's not going to die out because there's always going to be people, and the prices of those things will go up because if you want a real katana, those things are almost priceless. You need special permits and everything. So if you do have those really deep skills, or some way of the deep skill, I think is what. If you have those, then you can monetize and you'll get more money from them. It's like the guys making violins in Cremona. Yeah. Thing is, if your skill is, say, teaching English in a way that 100,000 other people in the world do, that's maybe not enough of a differentiator. You might have to look at what are the skills you can do. And rather than what skills you can do, look at what skills you love to do. Because if you love your job, you find something you really love to do, you can tell with teachers who are great teachers and bad teachers straight away. And there's one thing in society, we're not allowed to grade teachers, but you just know. You can go in there and I know what their results are going to be. I know what's going to happen if you put a bad kid in that class, what's going to happen if you put a good kid in that class, what's going to happen. I know. No such thing as bad kids and good kids, but you can tell from the teaching. And so the teachers who are passionate about teaching will always end up doing stuff and helping out. And if you're one of those people, that's great. If you've got your own boutique English school that's for the community kids and stuff, that's fantastic. If you're trying to compete with the chain school down this road and you're just using textbooks and standardized tests, and the parents see you as somewhere to drop the kids off for an hour because you're cheaper than a babysitter, you're not going to survive. Yeah. But if you're the safe haven, the place of love, the place where kids come because they love to be with other kids and learning not just English, but the human communication skills, the mindset skills, the future skills, then that's definitely going to survive.
Absolutely. You put it really well. So how many different, projects, ventures, businesses are you part of right now?
I was going to say too many, but it's not as many as I used to do. So I think at one point I was like, with like 14 different huge projects going on. But since we've had a really hard time since COVID. It's like Brexit has just been a total nightmare. My wife's Ukrainian, so all that as well is just the changes in China, like English basically getting banned in China. So we don't have many things going on now. So the main thing I spend my time on is Genki English. I've also, finance-wise, got a real estate investment company as well. We do a lot on that. That's why I'm really into English teachers need to learn how to invest, save and invest, because it's easy. If you're in America, S&P 500, ETFs, boom, that's it, done. Anyone who tells you otherwise is after getting fees from you, But that'll make you rich in 30 years' time, yeah? So there's other ways if you want to get it a bit quicker.
But I think the teacher should definitely put their money into real estate. Real estate is one of the best ways to grow too.
But in America, 1,000. You guys do not know how lucky you are in America. Depreciation? Oh my goodness! Like that's just wow. Yeah. So we have the opposite of that. In the UK, they've just changed all the rules. So now all my properties are like hit by over 100% tax. So we're just like, but that's a whole other.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They want to take there's too many people, not enough properties. The government wants to take properties away from people, so they don't want regular people owning them. They want the banks to own them. Anyway, but what was I talking about? Other projects, yeah. So I'm with Genki English. The main program's finished. I'm helping teachers out and stuff. I'm really excited about AI for the content side. Actually, looking at getting back to this idea of other subjects, like we're doing Genki Maths and Genki Science, other languages. Like just yesterday, with the chemistry thing, I was doing one of the test questions, yeah, and it's like, what is the electronic structure of sodium? And I'm like 281. I'm like, how did I know that? I never learned the electronic structure of sodium, and I didn't figure it out. I didn't count. I just knew it 281. I remember this because one of the Genki chemistry songs that we've been working on earlier in the day, and I was like, that's where he's from, isn't it? I was like, man, the music actually really works. It's just wow, it's subconscious brainwashing.
Yeah, talking about AI and GCSE and that, how effective are these standardized tests going to be if people are just going to be able to access the, general basic knowledge at any time that they want, and soon implanted even. Um,
Yeah,
I yesterday was coaching this woman. I mean, she has a GCSE business, tutoring business online,
okay.
and so we were, it's hard because people are in, like, everyone is in their space moving forward right now, and so when the world changes with this new technology and stuff, it's like when when was it, like last year or two? Yeah, last year I think, when ChatGPT really, when they picked up like a million users in a day, or in like an hour or something. I forget. It was crazy.
Crazy.
So like I was freaking out, and I'm like telling all of my teammates and all my people, like, we got to get on this thing, because like this is next level. I like start writing books and then be like, okay, now in Russian, and then like having my wife read it, and she's like, there's no mistakes, and I'm like, oh my God. So I was like mind blown. But fast forward, and now we're just getting like better and better versions. And like you said, there are some people who just are kind of like, they're late adopters maybe for this kind of stuff, and they are just like, you know what? That's a bunch of computer stuff. I don't need to learn about that. That's just, uh
It's their choice. It's their yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like tech people, we've sort of got ourselves to blame because we hype up everything.
yeah.
Everything's going to change the world tomorrow, and it's like, yeah. And obviously, AI has been coming for a long time, but yeah. I mean, the thing for me is it lets me do things that I've never have thought before. Like we're doing this idiom series. So last year I did a book of idioms and ones that are impossible to illustrate, and the AI illustrated them really well. And then everyone said we want cartoons. So I'm like, now we're doing cartoons, like Pixar style cartoons of idioms. And then look, and if you are paying, like, I've commissioned so much artwork over the years.
Yeah.
Like, if you were paying for that, it'd be this absolute ridiculous amounts of money. So we can actually make it as a product that I'll give it away free on my Instagram every day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
It's
and
great,
like
isn't
the
it?
songs, yeah. And we did like yesterday. We're doing like mindfulness is huge. So I had this idea that I've been trying to do for ages with the Genki Relax brand, which is like meditation. So I had this idea of cards that teachers could pull out a card each morning. The kids or the adults, and they imagine a scene like by the beach or hiking or something like that, and then they just meditate on a few different words. Yeah, and if you're not into meditation, it sounds rubbish. But if you are into meditation, you know how powerful it can be. In 30 seconds, you can calm a whole set of kids down. So if you got, if you do mountains, you'd be like, okay, so now focus on the words like wind and snow. And if you can get that there, then that just completely transforms the classroom. So I had 5 or 6, 7, 8 ideas. ChatGPT gave me 30. And it's like, and they're really good. They're way better than mine. And as you say, perfect. Like if I went to edit them, I would be adding mistakes in.
Yeah.
And then it illustrated them. And then so one of the things when we talk about creative side, when we work with creative people, is that it's the taste question. Yeah. So it's the Bez question. So if you have there's a group in England called the Happy Mondays. I don't know if you've heard of them. So they're Britpop thing. So anyway, there's a guy in there, and all he does is shake his maraca just all the time. But he gets paid full musician union rates. He gets everything for going on TV. He doesn't do anything, and he just shakes his maraca. And all the musicians are like, "Why does he get paid so much? Why does he do that?" Well, everyone loves him, but he's a bit of a weirdo. But anyway, so the reason his job is, the rest of the band are playing tracks, and they're all musicians, and they're playing these funky chords and these drums, and he's just sat there with his maracas, and he's just doing this. And then when he hears something he likes, he goes, ooh. And they know that's their signal, that that's the bit to put in the record.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same with Elton John. Elton John plays his piano all day. He doesn't know where the hit record is, but he has people in the studio, and they're just marking down and telling that bit. And the people with taste are the people who have the power and authority. And it's like Rick Rubin he invented basically recorded hip hop. So he's, as producer, can't play, can't engineer, knows nothing about music, but he's got great taste. So he can say to the band, "No, that's not that track, this track, not that beat, this beat." And I think that's for creative people. I don't know whether most teachers identify as creative or not, but for creative people, that's the skill. That the AI will do all the stuff, and then you will be the human editor, like the producer. And it doesn't matter if it's Elton John playing the piano or it's an AI playing the piano, just cheaper for the AI. But you as a producer can get your vision and your ideas and your taste to mold the things and get them done like that. So
That's really interesting. Yeah, let the AI create for you and just curate the collection.
yeah.
And interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. That's for now, I think, and this is why you've got to make hay where the sun shines. If you're into AI, you've got to, like, we're making products and stuff like that, because eventually the AI will develop that taste and it will do it automatically. Like in the music groups, we have AI music groups, and people say, "I'm never going to listen to Spotify because it's not the music I want." The AI knows what music I want. It knows my mood. It knows what I want next, and it generates real-time music for them. And they're addicted to that. They won't go back to Spotify and real humans. So yeah, but there'll still be the Rolling Stones might not be around, but there'll still be Taylor Swift. Here we got 3 Taylor Swift vinyls here. Yeah, my daughter listened to it maybe twice because she listens to it on Spotify. So there are always ways around it. If you're worried about a job, you're worried about finances, then there's always ways around it. You just got to be flexible and be like the farmers. When the tractor came out, everybody hated tractors because the tractor can do the job of 1,000 people. But now, if we didn't have tractors, we couldn't feed everybody because there's too many people. So think what is the core of what you do? What is the core of your skill set? What is the core of how you interact with other people, and what is the core of what you want to leave behind? And if you start thinking about those bigger picture questions, it might be teaching is the thing, and it's cool, and you do it, and you get your own niche, or it might be you go off and do something else. And as long as you've used your teaching to get you these finances, to give you this buffer space, then you're going to be fine, hopefully. That wasn't very optimistic, was it?
No. I think it was great. I think it's what people need to hear. Sometimes they don't want to hear it, but that's what they need to hear, right? What's the hardest part of being like a serial entrepreneur?
Failure, because you fail all the time. Science, learning English, entrepreneurship, it's all about failure. You do 1,000,001 things and it doesn't work, and it does your head in, and it's like, ugh. And then you keep coming back. You keep coming back to the thing that does work, even though you know that thing won't work forever, and you do have to move on to something else. So that's the problem with it. And then if you do get, like, we're sort of here now in one country for a bit, it's like if you get sucked into that one country trap, that's a real bad trap to get out. You want to be traveling.
I'm finding that too. Since being back in the States for now too long, 8 years, after 8 years in Russia. And I remember it was like a big culture shock coming back from Russia to the States. And now I fully feel like I'm, I'm inside of this American system. It's like when I first came back, I could look at it and poke fun at it. And now I'm just part of it again. And but yeah, I know what you mean. Like, and then we have that conundrum where we're like next week we're going to Turkey, to Istanbul. And so every time I go somewhere, I'm like, oh, this is so much better. I would like to do this more. And then it's like, that's like the first 7 days. And then like the next 7 days is like, well, it is really convenient that I have that stuff back in the States.
Oh, dude, you don't need stuff. I know your business is all online and digital. You don't have physical things anymore. It's all just on your laptop, yeah?
Oh yeah, that in that aspect, like
That's
I'm a
fine.
minimalist too, so it's not about physical things so much, but it is more about like space, like, having more space and having like the convenience of the infrastructure is definitely big. When I go overseas. Yeah. But like there's pros and cons everywhere.
I think there's I don't think there are any real cons of staying in one place. There's artificial ones like your bank address and stuff like that. But like for kids, it's infinitely better to travel. And like, so we travel with my daughter as well. So when she's learning about the Ramayana, we're like, okay, well, let's go to Cambodia, and you can see it written on the side of Angkor Wat. Yeah. It's if she wanted to like, and while we're there, we'll do it at New Year, so you can see how other cultures do New Year. If you want to learn like Italian, so you want to learn Italian, so let's go to Italy then. And we went to Italy, and you can like if you want to like, I guess if they want to learn about volcanoes, you can't learn about volcanoes from a book. You learn about volcanoes by standing in front of a volcano and let them burn your face, because you'll never forget that experience. So there's a whole thing called world schooling, which is where your kids. Oh yeah. Look at world schooling, and your kids travel around the world, and they're learning so much more. Like they whiz through. Like in the States, you have like the standardized curricula. You can whiz through that in 2 or 3 months. And then the rest of the time is spent learning things. You're going to go learn to play soccer, or if you want to go to the ballet, or you want to go and learn about archaeology or something. The kids, whatever their interest is, if you got 2 of them, it's a little bit more tricky, because it's like one goes this way. I hate the cold. I love the cold, or whatever it is. But you can still, as a family, travel. And some people, some people have airplanes, and they buy an airplane and they fly around the world, and it's cheaper to do it in an airplane. All the kids' stuff's in the back of the plane. And not a 747 or anything, it's a little plane, and they fly around. You go around South America, you come to Europe, and it's way cheaper to do it than it is staying back at home. So do it now, because I was traveling. We even talked about going to like North Korea at one point, but now I find myself, my citizenship got taken away, which is like practically terrible, and like identity wise it's just like, wow, it's whoa. So I've lost my right to live and work in 26 different countries. Like it's just crazy. That's why we went to Italy.
What do you mean? Just because, is this related to Brexit, like you were saying earlier? Okay.
Yeah, so citizen, the European Union citizen, and certain countries interfered with certain election things in the UK, and it voted to leave, which is the stupidest thing England could ever have done. So it means now my European passport, where I had the rights to live and work in any European country, completely gone. And people didn't realize that's what they were voting for. So if we went to Italy just before the deadline, but it was impossible. We couldn't do anything because suddenly all our rights had been taken away. The rights, like all the taxes changed, and the opening businesses changed, and our residency rights. And we just spent hours and hours, just rights taken, things that we took for granted. Are just taken away. The right to drive a car, the right to rent a car, things like that, just taken away or be threatened to take away because the agreements didn't match up and stuff. Losing healthcare, stuff like that. It was just utterly crazy. So that's why I went. And of course, now our backup plan was always to go back to Kiev, and obviously we can't do that either now. And traveling to Asia and stuff is like way more expensive to figure out all the trips and everything. Go a long way around. So that for us is and dealing with family or refugees and stuff. And we've got all these other things to try. So if you do have the opportunity, is take it. Just do it and take it, because it might not be there in. I think when we were, you're a lot younger than me, but
I'm 38.
Okay, so yeah, look at me. So when I was a kid, Soviet Union had nuclear missiles pointed at my school. We would do nuclear war drills, and you get under the table, and it would like, why are we getting under a table? It's a nuclear bomb. But anyway, but then all of a sudden, when I finished high school, the world was completely open. We could travel literally anywhere. It's been in Russia loads of times. You go to Ukraine, you go to China, in and out of China all the time. And it's like you go to all these different places. The whole world was a place we could go to. And again, because we were lucky that we had these strong passports and things like that. And then now it's shut down. Asia's really difficult to get to. Central Europe's really difficult to get to. Europe, I can't live there or work there at all. It really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to apply for visas and everything. And it's...
we went to Portugal at the beginning of the year. And they're in Lisbon. Like, if you haven't been there, I'm sure you've been there, but... if you haven't been, like, great place for international community. I really liked it.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, you can go there. You have to get all the special visas, and you have to put down a ton of money and stuff like that, which if you're just traveling through, it's not really the best thing in the world. But yeah, so if you got the chance, yeah, do it. Go for it. You got the whole of South America on your doorstep. You've got the Caribbean. The Caribbean has like year-long digital nomad visas.
Yeah.
Go for it. Barbados.
It's like my wife's position though is that the kids need stability. So like the one place, like they have friends on the street, like the plays with the girls in the houses next door. They have their, regular friends and activities. I was a military brat growing up, so like I
Okay.
don't have that. I don't have lifelong friends from school or something, but she does, and she sees a big value in this level of stability. So that's the thing that always comes up when we think about traveling. But like you said, this world school, but then again, it's like the socialization, like how are you going to
It's
yeah.
better. It's better because because when you're traveling, you're much more efficient with your work. You work on the morning, you do cool things in the afternoon. When you come back home, you go back to your local pub or your local bar or whatever, see your mates at the football team or whatever, and they say, "Oh, are you back already?" And they go, "Yeah, we've been gone 2 years." And I say, "Has anything happened here?" "No, not much really." "You don't know."
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can't tell them because they've got no frame of reference. So
Right.
most people waste all their life working anyway, in a really an inefficient way. Um, but now, like this, when I was traveling before, I would just put on. I don't do it anymore, but for all the security stuff. But you would put on. Okay, next Thursday, I'm going to be in this restaurant. If anyone wants to join me, and the 20 or 30 people just. And it's and then you get to know them and your mates, and you know that you can when you go to I think you have to start being secretive about going to places because you didn't want other people to know you were there. You did meet up for a beer and stuff like that. So you get these friends from all around the world, which
Yeah.
is, I think, even more valuable.
Yeah. I really like that part. I really like that part. And like from moving around as a kid, I still have this in me that I just have to get out. I'm just like I gotta get away from this place. Like now I've been living in here for too long, and I'm like I gotta move somewhere. Um, but at the same time, I can see that there's something special that people have that have been in the same place. Like there's a level of connection that you have when you've seen the same person a lot. The same with my wife. It's like I see the same person every day over and over in the same
Yeah, you
situation.
take her with you. You take her with you.
Right. But still, so like there's a different connection. Whereas if you were living in a different family all the time, then you wouldn't have the singular strong connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you still have your nuclear family. Yeah,
Right.
you still see them, and you'll actually see, and you'll have a better. Be careful what I say. You'll probably have a better relationship with grandparents and cousins and things like that because you only see them once or twice a year.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you do find that when you go back, it becomes an event and a happy time, and you don't have to put up with all the maybe moaning and things like that sometimes go on. Anyway, I was careful of that. So yeah, so yeah, and for yourself as well. It lets you business wise. It lets you see like how other people live, how a lot of things that you're doing are maybe not the right things, and there are better ways of doing things. You learn, you can share more, you can help more people. I mean, the happiest. I mean, one of the things that when I was like in Tokyo for like a couple of months, and nobody smiles. It's like any big city, yeah. And then we went to this project we're working with the slum schools in India because kids can't afford to go to government schools because they're too expensive. They can't afford the bribes and everything, so they go to private schools that are organized in the slums. And it's like an aunt or somebody, for a cheap price, they have like 10 kids around a kitchen table, and then they expand out and things. But those kids there, like in some of the poorest things you could possibly imagine, they're just like they're super smiley. You can't say they're totally happy but they are happy. They're happy. They're obviously tons of problems and things, but they're super smiley. Whereas then you go back to another place and the kids are moaning because they only got an iPhone 27 instead of a 26.43 PS3, blah 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 blah. And you're like,
Yeah.
anyway, it's not for me to convince you. It's if you should, I would say if you can do it where you can now. And I say you can do it. I could do it. Maybe not everyone watching this could do it,
Right.
unless. But then again, they've got a phone, so they can start preparing and it is all about being famous. Fame is sadly one of the, it's the like you said before, people. It's not what you know, because what you know everybody knows. It's not who you know, because you know the same people as everyone else. It's who knows you.
Yeah.
And if people can see what you're doing and go, "Ooh, that's an interesting way of doing that," and that's the whole thing. What social media was supposed to be is when people do cool stuff to like and share. But then, unfortunately, the marketers and everybody got in it, and they started, abusing the algorithms and all that sort of stuff as well. And it's like, but
Well,
so,
it was really interesting listening to how you described it, and making a case for really living as a digital nomad, because most of the people who I know who call themselves digital nomads end up going on a few trips and then settling in one place. I was even coaching a girl who was like teaching other people how to do what you were just describing, and so that they don't have to stay in one place. So they always moving and how to, the logistics of all of that. But I think that there's a lot of people out there now who see that that's a possibility and they want to do it. And it's great that people like you are sharing how that looks from your perspective and, with the experience of having done it. But yeah, thank you so much, Richard, for all the, information that you've shared with us today and your perspective, both in business, traveling, and, just in, grandparent relationships, everything that we talked about today. Everything we talked about today.
I get in trouble for that one.
But yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on. And and it's cool. Let's keep in touch. And if anyone watching as well wants to keep in touch or wants to help with anything, I'm sure we can help out and stuff.
Yeah,
thanks very much.
Tell everyone where they can find you, and we'll put the links under the video.
So basically, Genki English, Genki is where you can find me on the socials and stuff and things like that. I only spend 17 minutes a day on Instagram. I'm trying to keep it down low. But reach out. I'll get back to everybody eventually. I still do answer all my own emails, which is crazy. Right. You should probably be coaching me now. We'll just save that for another time.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Have a great one.
Cool. Okay. Catch you later.
Thank you for tuning in to English World with Chris Americos. Now it's your turn. Don't just listen to English, speak English with us every day. Join our English Everyday speaking program today. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.